When most people think of Woody from Toy Story, they think of the dependable cowboy. He's brave, loyal, selfless, the natural leader of Andy's room. But that's not actually the Woody we meet. The Woody we meet is jealous. He's insecure, terrified. And for a brief moment, he's even willing to let another toy disappear if it means getting his old life back. That's a surprisingly dark place for the hero of a Pixar movie to begin. But that's also what makes Woody one of Pixar's greatest characters. Because his story isn't really about toys. It's about identity. It's about what happens when the thing you've built your entire sense of self around suddenly disappears. Let's pull up a chair on the character couch. Before Buzz Lightyear arrives, Woody has everything a toy could ever want. He's Andy's favorite. He sleeps on the bed. He's unquestioned as the leader of the toys. Everyone listens to him. Everyone trusts him. His identity isn't simply that he's a cowboy. His identity is that he's the favorite. And that's an important distinction, because once your identity becomes tied to a role instead of who you are, losing that role feels like losing yourself. Many of us know exactly what that feels like. The employee who suddenly retires, the athlete whose career ends, the parent whose children move away, the student who graduates, the relationship that ends. When the role changes, we sometimes wonder who we are without it. That's Woody. Buzz Lightyear doesn't come into Andy's room intending to replace Woody. He simply exists, and that's enough. Within a matter of days, Woody watches everything change. Buzz sleeps on the bed. Buzz gets played with first. Buzz receives the admiration Woody once enjoyed. Every glance Andy gives Buzz feels like proof that Woody no longer matters. Objectively, Andy still loves Woody. Emotionally, Woody can't see it. Fear has narrowed his perspective. That's one of the most realistic things about Toy Story. When we're afraid of being replaced, we stop looking at reality. We only see evidence that confirms our fears. Eventually, that fear boils over. Woody knocks Buzz out the window. Whether you believe it was an accident or not, what matters psychologically is that Woody had reached a point where another person's removal looked like the solution to his pain. That's an uncomfortable truth. Sometimes insecurity convinces us that someone else's success somehow diminishes our own. Instead of asking, what do I still have? We begin asking, how do I get things back to the way they were? It's a very human reaction. Not a healthy one, but a human one. Toy Story 2 quietly gives us the missing piece. Woody isn't just a toy. He's a collectible. He's the star of Woody's Roundup. He once represented something important. Then the show disappeared. The world moved on. By the time Andy owns him, Woody has already experienced what it means to become obsolete. Whether Woody consciously remembers that history isn't really the point. Narratively, it tells us something. This isn't the first time Woody has feared being left behind. Buzz simply reawakens an old wound, and that's often how insecurity works. The thing happening today usually isn't the whole story. It's connected to something much older. The beautiful thing about the end of Toy Story isn't that Woody becomes Andy's favorite again. He doesn't. Instead, he realizes he doesn't need to be. For the first time, Woody understands that Andy's love isn't limited. Buzz being loved doesn't mean Woody is unloved. That's an incredibly mature lesson. Life isn't a competition for affection. Someone else's value doesn't erase your own. The second film pushes Woody even further. Now he's offered something he thought he wanted. Permanent admiration, museum preservation, never being forgotten. No growing up, no abandonment, no heartbreak. At first it sounds perfect, but then Woody realizes something profound. Being admired isn't the same thing as being loved. A toy locked behind glass may last forever, but it never fulfills its purpose. Woody chooses a finite life filled with love over an eternal life without it. That's one of Pixar's most powerful ideas. By the third movie, Woody has become the leader everyone believed he was in the beginning. Not because he's Andy's favorite, because he puts everyone else first. He repeatedly risks himself for the other toys. He refuses to abandon them. And perhaps the most emotional moment of all comes when Andy passes his toys on to Bonnie. Years earlier, Woody couldn't imagine surviving without being the favorite. Now, he willingly lets go. Not because it doesn't hurt, because love sometimes means accepting change. That's real growth. Some people were divided on Toy Story 4, but psychologically, it asks one fascinating question. Who are you once you've fulfilled your purpose? Woody isn't Bonnie's favorite. He isn't leading the room anymore. He's struggling with relevance all over again, only this time, instead of clinging to the past, he chooses a new future. Whether you agree with his decision or not, it's consistent with the man, or rather, the toy, he's become. He's no longer chasing validation. He's choosing meaning. What makes Woody such an enduring character isn't his pull string, or his cowboy hat, or even Tom Hanks' wonderful performance. It's that Woody reflects something deeply human. Most of us have tied our identity to something temporary. Career, relationship, title, reputation, a role. Eventually, life changes. The question becomes whether our identity disappears with it. Woody's journey teaches us that our worth was never supposed to come from being the favorite. It comes from loving others well. Maybe that's why Toy Story has remained meaningful for 30 years. It isn't really about toys. It's about us. If you've enjoyed this episode of The Character Couch, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you see Woody the same way, or is there another Pixar character you'd like to see sit down on the couch next? If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss future conversations here on The Confusing Middle. Until next time, thanks for watching.